those who supported him would be questioning whether he has learned any lessons, or whether the obedient movement in general has learned any lessons from the 2023 general elections. Anything that could inform a more calculated strategy come 2027 if he does decide to run, especially regarding voter mobilization, the structure of the party, grassroots engagement, and also countering perceived electoral practices. What are the lessons or takeaways that have been learned so that a repeat does not happen come 2027?
Again, you are dealing with the broader spectrum of issues. Whether for Mr. Peter Obi or the obedient movement, the focus has always been patriotism towards the Nigerian estate. And that's why his concentrations daily has been about education, about healthcare, about pulling people out of poverty. And you can see that with his lifestyle.
This interview with the General Secretary of Obedient Movement is eye-opening and also encompassing, as it borders on the news of Peter Obi in collision with other party come 2027. And also, it talks about the lesson learned in the last election to make sure that there is no repeat of what happened then in the coming election. Let's listen to what they have to say.
I've had the humbling privilege to have traveled with him home and abroad, and I can tell you quite honestly, he's majorly concerned about the future of education, healthcare, and how poverty alleviation for the people. And this is what he has continued to do, consistently. And the obedient movement, essentially, yes, it's not a political party. It's much more than a political party. The obedient movement it's about the reimagined new Nigeria. Our focus is not, completely just driven by cycles of elections, but what will happen to the average Nigerian. And so if you look at that vis-a-vis what the characterization of what Mr. Peter Obi represents, you would understand that this is the only group and this is the only person who is striving to ensure that we have a new Nigeria from every facet, and in every engagement you can see that. And what I was saying before you interrupted is the fact that those who are clamoring, those who have now been emboldened to have a one-party state are the ones ensuring that they disrupt every system that will, give a viable opposition come in the next election. And this is why we're making it clear, as part of the lessons learned, that it's important to stay within the boundaries of the law and also with democratic values. We don't want a Nigeria that is, you have narrative of snatching, of grabbing on. Nobody has the monopoly of anarchy, but we're saying that part of what we will continue to push is to ensure that we have a country where civility, where the rule of law, where people will behave like, and this is why you will hear Mr. Peter Obi again and again. He keeps making and driving narrative with nations like Netherlands, like Bangladesh, like different nations who are at par with us, because we must be able to drive ourselves from where we are right now to where we're supposed to be as a people, not to fall, to just anyhow kind of nations like we have seen. So yes, there are lots of lessons. And while this is not the place to talk about strategies, I can tell you that engagement, we're consolidating, grassroots, mobilizations are things, we continue to do that beyond agitation, even beyond advocacy. We're organizing every day to ensure that we protect our vote and do what is right, and so that, we can be able to put Nigeria where it's supposed to be.
Rumors don't they fly around. There is a speculation about Peter Obi engaging in coalition talks with other political parties, like Peter Obi deflecting from his Labour Party to PDP in order to join forces with them to make sure that the coming election is won and taken away from PDP. So here Peter Obi spokesman comments and clarifies this speculation.
want you to clarify the reports about and speculations about Peter Obi engaging in coalition talks with other political figures. This has been discussed widely in the last couple of weeks. If you can confirm the current stance of Peter Obi and the Obedient Movement regarding these coalition discussions. Is he actively shunning them, sticking with the Labour Party? Just want to reconfirm.
No, Mr. Peter Obi will continue as he has consistently maintained, and is part of any coalition that is there to ensure that we have a new Nigeria, a secured Nigeria. Any coalition that is there to ensure that we have the Nigeria of our dream, where the child of nobody can become, where meritocracy is the baseline, where the rule of law is what we have. He will continue to engage in such coalition. It's not shying away from any coalition. However, it's important to state very clearly, because people, like I said, there are two prongs of people that do exist. Those who make quick conclusions. Whenever they see groups of opposition leaders come together, they already make conclusions on what consultations, or even without knowing the essence of the discussions that are going on. And then you have this other set of people who are actually paid agents of misinformation and driving narratives to ensure that they cause chaos within the coalition that is going on. Mr. Peter Obi will continue to engage with everybody and all parties to ensure that we have the kind of leadership that is required in the country.
The structure of the party was also discussed, the structure of Labour Party, especially in the area of funding, knowing that stomach infrastructure is the order of the day. So, like in the last election, that the slogan was, we know they give sheshe. So, these show hosts wants to know how the Labour Party wants to take care of the funding, seeing that funding is part of the reasons there is an internal crisis in the party, Labour Party.
And what exactly will be the plans for a more robust and a sustainable structure in order to, secure the necessary funding, first of all, for the sustainment of the group, knowing as how stomach infrastructure is the name of the game in politics during campaigns? And also, how do you plan to keep the Labour Party, the Obedient Movement, credible amidst all this infighting within the Labour Party as well?
Well, it is sad that poverty has been so weaponized to the point where, while I don't want to call names, people in government and in leadership in very high positions have been questioned with the quote that what money cannot buy, more money can buy. I mean, it's a complete downturn in our value systems in Nigeria as it stands today. And we've never been this low, where people are rewarded for snatching and grabbing and running away with ballot boxes and all kinds of things. We're hoping that we'll be able to build a future where the children who will be born will see this as completely alien in history. But right now, as it stands right now, it is sad. We have glitches everywhere, from the studio to the jam sessions and also to the INEC. We're hoping that in 21st century, this is 2025, we should not be having these kinds of issues. And that's why, both as a movement, and I speak because Mr. Peter Obi is one whose voice has been loud, where the concerns of our values and the critical essentials, from education to health to the livelihood of people are concerned, he continues to push and continue to invest and continue to ensure that our people are not completely broken. And we're hoping that we will, at a time like this in our nation's history, have people that will be patriotic. Patriotism has to do with a love for country beyond your people and the government. Because at the end of the day, leaders come and leaders go. The people that you call your people today, in decades to come, they all evolve, but there will always be a country and a people that will exist. And we hope to be able to share narrative and hope to speak to our constituency in the Obedient Movement to raise a critical mass of people who will not give in or give up to the shenanigans and all the things that we have today. And this is what Mr. Peter Obi epitomizes. That's why, regardless of the terrain, he travels from Lagos to Sokoto, from Maiduguri to Ibadan, attending to issues with young people and adults and family every day, bringing hope and succor to every facet of the economy and our civic spaces. This is what is required. Mr. Peter Obi is a hope. The obedient movement, like the civil rights movement or the ANC, is born at a time that it's critical in our nation's history. And we continue to feed this energy and this narrative because we need people that will stand the test of time and not given to the apathy of vote buying and all kinds of things that are going on right now. Before we went off, I was talking about the fact that today in Nigeria, people are rewarded for stealing ballot boxes. People are rewarded for doing the wrong things.